What made you realize your child wasn't normal? My middle daughter was always different, but I convinced myself it was just a phase. Now I wonder if I should have taken her to a priest instead of a pediatrician. As a baby, she'd laugh hysterically at empty corners while pointing at nothing. The pediatrician said babies have developing vision, but her laughter was too knowing, too adult. When she turned 2, she started playing peekaboo with the shadow lady in the closet. I assumed it was an imaginary friend until she perfectly described my husband's deceased great-grandmother from a photo she'd never seen. The old lady says she's sorry about the fire, she told me one day, completely unprompted. My husband went white. His great-grandmother had died in a house fire when he was a child, something we'd never discussed around the kids. At 3, she began asking disturbing questions about my life before she was born, specific details about my college roommate who died in a car accident, my miscarriage that we'd never told anyone about, even the exact words my father said before he passed away. "Mommy, why did you cry when Grandpa said take care of my roses in the hospital? You don't even like gardening." Those were his actual last words. I'd never told another soul. The night terrors started when she turned 4. She'd scream about the carrot vampire scratching at her window, begging to come inside. But here's the thing, she wasn't asleep. Her eyes were wide open, pupils completely black, staring at something behind me. "He's here now," she'd whisper. "He wants to show you his teeth." I'd turn around to see nothing, but the temperature would drop 20 degrees instantly. The worst incident happened during her 4th birthday party. 20 kids and parents were in our backyard when she suddenly went silent, mid-laugh. She walked over to my friend's 6-year-old son and whispered something in his ear. The boy immediately started sobbing and refused to tell anyone what she'd said. His mother later called me, furious. "Your daughter told my son the exact date and time he was going to die." She described his funeral in detail, including what songs would be played. How could she possibly know that? When I confronted my daughter, she just smiled. My master told me to share the news. Tommy needed to know so he could say goodbye to his goldfish. That's when she started referring to this master constantly. Broken toys? My master made me do it. Drawings of bloody stick figures? My master likes red pictures, dead birds appearing in her bedroom. My master brought presents. The voice she used when talking about her master wasn't her normal 4-year-old voice. It was deep, raspy, like an old man who'd smoked for decades. My husband wanted to call a priest, but I insisted on therapy first. The child psychologist was baffled. "She shows no signs of trauma or abuse," she said, "but her knowledge of death and violence is highly unusual for her age." During one session, my daughter drew a picture of our family. Everyone was stick figures except for a tall, dark shadow standing behind me with its hands on my shoulders. "That's my master," she explained cheerfully to the therapist. "He lives in mommy's shadow and tells me secrets about people." The psychologist recommended we see a specialist in unusual childhood phenomena. Things escalated when my daughter started predicting minor events with unsettling accuracy. She'd tell me exactly when the mailman would arrive, which parent would be late for pickup at school, even when our cat would get sick. "My master sees everything," she'd explain when I asked how she knew. The breaking point came when she woke me up at 3 a.m., standing over my bed with those black, emotionless eyes. "Mommy, can I have your skin when you die? My master says it would make a beautiful dress." That night, I called the priest. Father Martinez visited the next day and spent an hour with my daughter. When he emerged from her room, his face was pale. "There's definitely a presence attached to her," he said quietly, "but it's not malevolent. It seems protective, like a guardian that's teaching her about the spiritual world." 6 months later, the behavior stopped as suddenly as it started. My daughter went back to being a normal kid who liked cartoons and dolls. But sometimes I catch her staring at shadows with a knowing smile, and I wonder if her master is still there, just waiting.